Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a swatching video with all of my Da Vinci watercolors. I got these February of this year and I still don't know exactly what all of these look like. So today I'm going to be swatching them all out and talking about which ones are my favorite that I've already tried and which ones I just wish I never got done. So this is Cadmium Yellow Lemon. It's fairly transparent. This one is in my palette right now. I used to have the Da Vinci Yellow, but then I switched it after I ran out of that one. It's pretty nice for a cool yellow, but it's not like the coolest yellow you've ever seen. And I forgot that I have one right next to it. So this is Hansa Yellow Medium. I'm just going to do these first because that's like easier for me. It's PY74 and has a lightness rating of 2. This is definitely warmer than the Yellow Lemon, and it's like more of like a middle of the road too. It is fairly opaque, but like semi-opaque, if that makes sense. It's like, I don't know, it's a nice looking yellow. I feel like that would be the yellow that I would wear. That's a yellow that I would wear. All right, next up is Cadmium Yellow Light. This one's the same pigment as the Cadmium Yellow Lemon, just warmer. I don't know if I like this one. This one also has a light fastness rating of, oh my god, this paper. I think I'm gonna tape this down. Nah, that's too much work. It's definitely another warm yellow. It's not as warm as the Hansa Yellow Medium, I don't think, but it's getting there. Next up is Da Vinci Yellow, and this was my middle of the road yellow. And it's not as warm as the other yellows, but it's definitely not as cool as the Yellow Lemon. This is PY154, and it's a light fastness rating of very good. Not great, but good. I like it. There's nothing wrong with it. I just like I think I like the Cadmium Yellow Light more than this now, because that one is like, I don't know, just more buttery. Like, that's a butter. Alright, next up is Cadmium Yellow Medium. Very exciting, I know. This one's PY35 as well. I think that they're all PY35 for the cadmiums, except like they're just processed differently. And this one is definitely warmer. Like, it's more of an orangey color than the Cadmium Yellow Light. Cool. Yeah, now that I look at it, I'm like kind of upset that I put the Da Vinci Yellow in my palette first, because all these other yellows are like, ooh, well, look at me, I'm so fancy. All right, last for the yellows is Cadmium Yellow Deep. And this one is my most orange yellow. It's like a mac and cheese. Like right next to the Hansa Yellow Medium. Oh my god, mac and cheese, man. If you like mac and cheese, this is the color for you. And this is also PY35. And now I have to look into how they... Oh, and PO20. Like, that makes sense. It's mixed with an orange. This one was also on my palette for a while. I used it as my warm yellow, and I did a lot of flowers with it. I really do like this color, so I'm thinking of just, like, keeping it on there. But who knows what I'm gonna do after I'm done this. Alright, next up is Alizarin Gold. This is PR177 and PY42. And it's, ooh, it granulates. That's interesting. Oh, by the way, the brush that I'm using is a Holbein Resable, and the reason why I'm using it is because this thing gives out the flattest washes. Like, for other brushes, it's, like, very easy to just, like, make gradients, but this brush, flat as a pancake. I did not know this would be that red. Okay. Like, when it says gold, you'd expect, like, a warmer color. Like, this is definitely like a blood, and you just divorce your husband by killing him kind of color. Very... Or a poppy. Yeah, poppies are for death. That is my opinion. All right, next up is a Da Vinci orange. This is PO73. That is an orange. Jesus. Oh my God, that, oh wow, that's an orange, yeah. That is definitely an orange. That is, yup, what? That is probably the most obnoxious color I'm gonna get on here, I must say. It's definitely like going way towards the red, but it's still like middle of the road. But I cannot stop looking at it because it's just like blaring in my eyeballs. So because I didn't like know what all the colors actually were, I just put them in order of like what I thought they'd look like. So it's not going to be like perfect color order. All right, next up is quinacridone red. And this one is not on my palette because I chose to put in something else, but this one's pretty cool. It's a PR209, which I don't think I've messed around before with. And it's more of a pinkish color, which makes sense because it is a quinacridone. Oh, and sorry if you can't read my handwriting. I know it's really bad. But hey, I'm telling you what they are. I just was not in the mood to do all capital letters. Cool. That is actually pretty pretty. Like, that's definitely a middle of the road yellow. Oh, frick. That's a middle of the road red. I'm on the reds now, and I'm like, that's a yellow. All right. Next up is Red Rose Deep Quinacridone. This is a PV19, and it's a pink magenta. This one I have on my palette, right? No, permanent. I have this one on my palette. What am I doing? All right. So this one is like definitely a pinky purple. It feels like something that Mean Girls would have. Like, this is their color palette right here. This is that red. It's very transparent. I like that, but I don't really... It's so magenta. Like, that screams magenta. Anyway, next up is Da Vinci Red. This one's on my palette. This is the PR254, and it's red. That is Fire Truck Red. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's very, very red. There's nothing much I can say. It's not as transparent as the one before, but it is, like, I don't know, man. Like, this is what you use to make an orange. God. So the way you can tell whether a paint is cool or warm is if it's cool, it makes really good purples or greens. And if it's warm, then it makes really good oranges or... What's the other one? Yeah, oranges. Wow. I can't think of the other one, but it does not make good greens if it's warm. Good as in, like, vibrant and obnoxious. Like, a phthalo green is violent and obnoxious. And next up is a cadmium red deep, PR108. I don't think I've messed with this one, but I think I love it. Goodness, this one's pretty. I think this one might... Oh my God, is this opaque? It's also a bit granulating. Can you tell I've never seen this color before in real life? And now that it's dried, the alizarin gold looks like an orange. So I should have just switched the two. I like it now, but like it's very opaque and it's very granulating in a weird way. Like the Da Vinci Red is very flat, if that makes sense. And this one is just like kind of more dull than that. If that makes sense. But I like them both. I mean, compared to the quinacridone red, I would take that one over the cadmium red deep. But it is more light fast than that one. Alright, next up is the alizarin crimson quinacridone. This one's PV19. It definitely reminds me of the Red Rose Deep Quinacridone, but I think it's like a more muted, more adult, mature flavor, I guess. I don't really know what I'd use this one for. I mean, like, of course it's a red, but like, when I have options. It's very pretty though. But I think I'm gonna go to the next one and come back to that. Because, like, I don't know. Alright, next up is the Permanent Rose Quinacridone, and this is also PV19. We've had 3 PV19s so far. I wonder where they get their pigment inspiration. Oh, this is way pinker than the Red Rose Deep Quinacridone. Okay. Yeah, this one is on my palette right now. This is what I use for my cool red. But I think I might go to the Red Rose Deep because I kind of like that color more once I, like, run out and everything. But it's pretty, it's fine. It's very transparent, but so is the Red Rose Deep. Alright, that one's all done. Let me know which one's your favorites, by the way, because, like, I'd probably just make a palette of that and be like, okay, I'm trying them out. Alright, PV19 again for the next 2. How exciting. Quinacridone Violet it is. Ooh, I didn't actually swatch this one out yet. I don't know how I feel about it. It's very transparent, but it's definitely a magenta purple. I should have gotten a warm purple, but I did not. I'd use it in a pinch. It reminds me of the Paul Rubens, whatever they call it. Like, they have a PV19 Violet that looks almost exactly like this. And I love it, and I use that all the time when I use my other palette. But right now, I have the Theo Indigo Violet in my palette, which is PR88 and PV19. This I love, and it's so pretty. And of course, they look almost exactly alike. But the Theo Indigo, the PR88, is like a very rare pigment, and I'm pretty sure Da Vinci is the only one that has it. I like it. And I use it for shading stuff that is warm. Alright, next up is the Da Vinci Violet PV23. And that is a purple. That is what you think of when you think 80s roller skates. That is it. That is so dark that I can't even see my own handwriting. And neither can you by association. Oh God, my paper is moving. Why don't you ever tell me these things? Alright. That one's really, really dark. And it's very pretty. But I'm not sure exactly what I'd use it for. Because I still need to, like, make color. Like, you know the swatching and then you swatch it all and then you mix it. Color mixing, I have to do that because, like, again, I haven't seen most of these colors yet in real life, so of course I haven't swatched them all and mixed them yet. This is Ultramarine Blue Red shade. This is what I had on my palette before I switched it for the regular Ultramarine Blue, and this is definitely warm. Oh, this is PB29. Yeah. Very warm. All right, and now, we are on to my absolute favorite blue. This is the Manganese Blue Mixture. This is PB33 and PB15 with a light fast rating of very good. This one's my favorite blue because it's so pretty. I had Cobalt Blue on my palette, which we're going to see in like 3 minutes, but this one, it granulates and it's like, I don't know, it just speaks to me. This is what I use for like all of my days and my skies and my everything. This is my favorite blue from here. I love it so much. This is also a color that you can't find anywhere else because like the pigment is very hard to find. I love that color and I wish that I got more tubes of it because I'm obsessed. Next up is the Ultramarine Blue, and this one's not the red shade. This one's just blue. And it's definitely a middle of the road. I'm going to bring down the paper a little bit so you can see just how different this is. I feel like I should have just put them next to each other, but there wasn't room. So this is like a middle of the road, kind of like how the Da Vinci Red is the middle of the road. Like that one is obviously warm, and this one is like, I don't know, man, what are you doing with your life? Like, it couldn't decide. But that's why I like it. This one is also on my palette now. Because the original reason I put that one on my palette instead of that one was because I thought I didn't have this. And then I found it. And then I was like, well, now I have paint on my palette. So I had to use that all up. Alright, next up is Indanthrene Blue. And I'm just going to move this back. Yeah, good. Good talk. This is PB60 and it's a light fast of very good. Very good. It's a dark blue, kind of like an indigo, but more blue. I like it. It's good. It's good blue. I'd use it instead of the Prussian blue though, because the Prussian blue is light fastness is really weird. Like if you stick it in a closet, it'll go back to what it was, but if you leave it out in the sun, it'll say nope, and it'll fade, but like reappear. Super weird. This is just like a dark, moody blue with a little bit of spice. Definitely. I'm so good at describing colors. Oh my god. So this is cobalt blue, and this is what I had. No. This is not what I had. But I like this. It's definitely warm. And this is a PB28. So like, very fun. Granulates like a, I don't know, it just granulates a lot. I mean, so does the manganese blue mixture, and you can see that granulation, and it's gorgeous. Oh my god, I love that color. But definitely a warm light blue. Well, not that light, but like, you know, comparatively. By the way, all the colors are so bright. I love it so much. All right, next up is Cerulean Blue Genuine PB36, and this is what I had on my palette instead of the manganese blue mixture. And this is definitely warmer, and it granulates too, but it does not compare to my favorite blue, my man. Does not. Sorry about that. And I do like it. I used up all of it. That's why I replaced it with the manganese blue. But it's just not as fun. But if you don't have one and you want to try it, I would recommend this one because it's so pretty. All of these colors are pretty. You know how it is. Alright, next up is the indigo. This is a color that I did not really enjoy. This is the PB27 and PB19. I don't really... It's an eh for me. I have other indigos that are way better. I have the Jackson's indigo is my favorite, and then I also have a handmade watercolor from Lighthouse Cove, and that one's Genuine Mayan Blue. That one is my favorite indigo of all time, even though it's not an indigo. This one just bores me. It's not very... It's just... meh. If you want to look at all the indigos that all of the major brands carry, Auto Cano, on her channel, she has like color showdowns, and it's amazing, and you're like like they're all fighting, but not really. Like, she does the most amazing tests, and it's like so helpful when you're picking out what colors to get for your palette. Alright, next up is Payne's Gray. This one is PBR6 and PB27. This is what I use as an indigo. This is on my palette. It's cooler, and it looks way more like the Lighthouse Cove one I was talking about earlier. Like, the indigo is warmer compared to this one. This one looks like something I'd use. This is what I use. Oh, well. Like, that just looks like a dark blue. And now I'm just, like, totally bashing the indigo. Okay. Very good color. I love it. 10 out of 10. Very good. Alright, next up is Prussian Blue. This is PB27. This is the one that I was warning you about. Even though it's pretty, it's still got its flaws. Sad girl hours. I know. But, I mean, once I get it off of my palette, I am going to replace it with one that's coming up, because I freaking fell in love with that one. It's fine. It's not my, like, most favorite color. I just put it on there because I didn't swatch it all out, and I used it before, so I was like, I know what I'm doing. But now I think I only need the Phthalo Blue, which is PB15. This one is definitely a bluer blue. Like, oh my god, is that blue. This is a C color. Like, that one does not compare to this one. But it's like less light fast, which makes no sense. All right. Oh, weird. The cerulean blue genuine looks darker. I'm gonna re-swatch that before I go to the next ones because this is like really weird. Hold up. Like, why is this so... This should not be that dark. Anyway, let's see how that dries again. Next up is the Chromium Oxide Green PG17. I love this color. This is my favorite green. I've used it for, like, I use it like on a paint thingy on my testing out colors palette, and I literally used it all up. Even though it's like really opaque, it's still so pretty, in my opinion. It's great for like landscapes, and it's granulating, and it looks like something that would like... This is Cottagecore Incarnate. There we go. Yeah, this is one of the colors that I recommend. And I really like green. Like, all of these are green. Well, 7, 8 of these are green. So Phthalo Turquoise PB16, this is the one that I want to replace with from Prussian Blue. And thank God I'm almost out because this color is so pretty. Ooh. Honestly, this color, oh my God, there's so many uses for it. And it's, if I had to have 3 blues, it would be this one, the manganese blue mixture, and the regular ultramarine, because you do need a warm blue. But this one's so pretty. I think enough said. Enough said. Alright, next up is Cobalt Turquoise. This one is also in my palette right now. And I consider this more of a green, so that's why I didn't include it. But I use this one for skies and greens and blues, and mostly greens because this is like, I don't know. I just, like, of course it's a blue, but like it looks like a green. This is one of the colors that confused me when I was starting out. And then I never got to like really try it until I got a free Daniel Smith swatch card, and then I literally used up the entire dot on the swatch card, and I'm like, this color is great, but not for that much. This is PB36, and so's the Cerulean Blue Genuine. That's really weird. I did not notice that before. Oh, the more you know. It's pretty much like completely different from those two. Hold up. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. Yeah. So the Phthalo Turquoise is kind of like the older brother to the Cobalt Turquoise, because like they're the same thing, but that one's just lighter and granulates more heavily. Next up is Phthalo Green PG7, and this one I have to have on my palette, even though I don't like the color, like the original color, because it's so good for mixing. Like I literally, this is one of them that I refilled first. All right. Next up is Perylene Green PBK31. This is a black pigment, but it makes this lovely green that I love so much. The only problem is I have the Daniel Smith one, and I'm using that before I use this one. And I honestly like the Daniel Smith one like more than I like that. And I got the Daniel Smith one before that whole thing came out about everything. This one granulates more than the Daniel Smith one, I must say. And it's not as like deep dark. That one is pretty. Alright. Next up is Sap Green. This is PG7, so the Phthalo Green, and PY42, Yellow Ochre. And it's a green. Oh my god, look how beautifully that dried. Alright. Sorry. I really do love Chromium Oxide Green. That one is just... This one is not on my palette, and I think it might stay that way until I run out of paint, because it's just, like, I can mix this color. It does granulate a bit, though. That's good. But I just don't like that green. Let me know what you guys think, because, like, not my favorite. Next up is Green Gold PY129. This one is gorgeous. This is such a beautiful yellow. It's really fun for painting cottages, like their landscapes. Like this is what I would use with the chromium oxide green. This is on my palette 24/7. If I don't have this, I go bonkers. Next up is olive green. This one's also on my palette, and I'm going to switch it out for the chromium oxide green once I'm done. This was PG7 and PY42 again, but it's a lighter color, and it's more transparent. Well, not really transparent, but it feels like it is. Like, same amount of transparency, but just a prettier color, in my opinion. I really love the warm yellows and the warm greens. I love warm greens so much. Again, I'm swapping it out for that one, even though that one's, like, darker. This one's lighter. I just love chromium oxide green. Alright, next up is the yellow ochre, PY43, even though yellow ochres are usually PY42. This is my least favorite ochre that I've ever had. Ever. I hate it. I have the Daniel Smith one. That one is probably my favorite so far, but this is on my palette right now. I switched it out for gold ochre, which is coming up. The reason I don't like this is because it when it dries, it produces such an ugly human body functions. I love yellow ochre, don't get me wrong. That one's just not my favorite. Alright, I'm gonna move it down now. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. And we're almost there. Whoa. Alright, next up is Terracotta Light Red PR102. This is a orangey kind of color. I love these kinds of like reds, but this is definitely more orange than I expected. And it granulates beautifully. Oh, sorry about that. This is the one that I switched out from the yellow ochre. Alright, so gold ochre is PY42, the actual yellow ochre, and PY83. And I don't have a PY83 on my Da Vinci thing, but this is what a yellow ochre should be, except it's a little bit more warm because of that PY83. But it's definitely pretty, and it's transparent, and I love transparent yellow ochres, so you know I'm a sucker for this one. I didn't like try it out as much as I could in a painting because I'm still waiting for it to dry because I literally just got rid of my yellow ochre. Now that it's drying, I hate it even more. I'm sorry. I love Da Vinci so much, but like that yellow ochre, my man, no. So raw sienna is PBR7, and there's a lot of PBR7s in here because like there's so many different ones that you can make. This is really pretty. Like, this is what the yellow ochre that they pretended to make should have been, but warmer. Like, this is definitely a skin tone. And it is opaque. So, that's something to look out for. The gold ochre is not as opaque, but it does granulate, and I love my granulation. Alright, next up is Raw Sienna Deep PY42, so another fake yellow ochre. Ooh, that is something I dig. This is, this reminds me of the green gold because of how it, like, moves, if that makes sense. Oh, I like this. Did I have it? I did not swatch this out ever before. I'm glad I did today. Wow, that's really pretty. This is something that I might put on as soon as I run out of another color. Wow, I really like that. Okay. That's really pretty. Next up is Quinacridone Burnt Orange PO48. This is another orange, but it does not like remind you of the Da Vinci orange, which literally burnt my eyeballs out. I do like orange, don't get me wrong. That one is just orange. This one is like a earth color, and it's burnt. This is on my palette right now. I use it to like make warmer browns. But I'm almost out of it, so I'm probably going to swap it for something else. And next up is Indian Red. This one I do want on my palette, but I have Burnt Sienna Deep on it right now. This is PR 101. And it's so pretty. Look how pretty that is. Oh my god. Sorry. And it is a granulator. A granulator. Like the freaking Terminator, but watercolors. No. Anyway, it's like a Caput Mortem, but like warmer. I really want to get their Violet Iron Oxide. Like so bad. But if I'm going to make a purchase from them, I'm going to get more than one color. Because I'm not like evil to myself. Because there's some colors like the Aralide Yellow. Because I don't have a true... Okay, I'm going to just... So this is Indian Red. Very pretty. I love it very much. I'm going to put it on my palette as soon as I run out of probably brown matter. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing yet. So brown matter quinacridone is PV19 and PR101. And it's definitely a color. It's probably the pinkest one of all of the earth tones that I have. Like it'll dry out to a really like pinkish hue. I use this for like skin again and I don't know, random stuff. I really do like that Raw Sienna Deep now that it is kind of dry. Alright, now you can see why I don't like that yellow ochre, because like all the other ones are like, ooh, look at me, and that one's just like, ah. Next up is Burnt Sienna Deep PY42. What? How is this a PY42? Okay, I see you. This one's transparent. Oh, got a dog hair on my brush. So, I was not expecting this. Actually, no, I was. This is on my palette. LOL. This is like the more orangey version of the quinacridone burnt orange. Even though this is a watercolor pigments astound me, my dude. Alright, next up is the Burnt Umber PBR7. And it's a brown. So exciting. Oh my god. Whoa. Alright. Yeah, it's a brown. What were you expecting? So exciting. But it is extremely useful. Alright, do I have to... Oh, cool. So next up is Raw Umber PBR7 again. And this is what I had before I had Burnt Umber on. And this is what my hair color is. This is like exactly what my hair color is. Like when I do self-portraits, this is what I use. It's not as good for mixing bright colors as Burnt Umber, of course, but it does have its uses if you don't have Burnt Umber. And if you're doing more moody stuff, this is what I'd recommend. It's so good. Like if I didn't have only 18 spots on my palette, I would have both of them. Alright. But I don't, so Burnt Umber it is. Sorry, Burnt Umber. But I used you all up, and it's time for a change. Maybe I'll change it back later. Alright, last one. My throat is breaking. Davies Gray. This is the only one with white in it. And it's probably one of the ones that I'd recommend you buy if you don't have something similar. This is PW6, PBK6, and PG7. This is what I'll use. Oh my god, is it gorgeous. For like clouds and muted paintings and like cottages. Oh my god, this is like my favorite for cottages. This and Chromium Oxide Green and Green Gold is my dream palette. Yeah. I love this color so much. Like as soon as I use up all of the, I don't know, one of them, I'm gonna switch it out. This is great. Love it. 10 out of 10. It's very opaque though, but it's such a pretty color. If you haven't tried a white color, I think you might want to try that one. And that's it. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller so you can look at all of my color. Oh god. And that's it. Those are all of my Da Vinci watercolors, and I am in love with 89% of them. Here is my trusty little tissue thing, and now it is tie-dye colored. Like, these colors are the most vibrant ones. Like, I like these more than I like Schminke because of that. Like, honestly, I think that these, except for a few colors like the yellow ochre and the perylene green, these are, like, my favorite. Yeah, and that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.